This is how Mace Windu's master managed to survive Order 66 and even serve in Luke Skywalker's new Jedi Order. Greetings again, curious acolytes of the galaxy, and thank you for rejoining us in our archives. The Jedi Order is filled with a great variety of interesting Jedi Masters, all of whom have their own distinct way with the Force and with the galaxy at large. Some of them are born of species that were not thought to be able to become Jedi or touch the gifts of the Force. But the specific Jedi that we are going to be talking about today comes from legends and is one born of an extremely rare species, a species which was thought to have been mythical. This Jedi Master was almost as old as Master Yoda, if not older, and lived to be one of Mace Windu's Jedi Masters, fight in the Clone Wars, survive Order 66, and even lived to see Cade Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's distant descendant, in the year 137 ABY. This remarkably long-lived and much accomplished Jedi Master is named Terra Sa. But before we get into this holocron, we wanted to make it known that our mystics have been sensing that some of you pursuing our archives have not yet enrolled. So, if you like our daily holocron uploads and want to be notified whenever we post, be sure to reach out and force crush that subscribe button. It is your destiny. The first and most important thing to know about Master Terra Sa is her species. She is known as what is called a Neti, which are a race of sentient shape-shifting plants that can have lifespans up to several thousand years. Master Sa herself was relatively young for her species standards, because as far as we know, she is about several hundred years old. We know that she knew Yoda, and even the Grand Master before Yoda in Master Fey Coven. Like regular plants, Neti didn't need food, but rather fed off of sunlight through photosynthesis and water. The Neti have a special ability where they can go into something of a meditated hibernation trance, and it is said that as long as they are doing this in a place with proper amounts of natural sunlight and frequent rainwater, they can exist almost indefinitely, making the Neti as a species somewhat that of pseudo-immortals. One of the most fascinating things about the Neti is that they are all naturally force sensitive, which to some may not come as a surprise due to how in tune with nature and the living force this species is. In modern Star Wars, there are actually a couple of Neti that went into the Jedi Order, such as Master Odin Benar, who lived during the Great Hyperspace War and existed for over 5,000 years as a Jedi. The only slight problem with their species comes with how infrequent they procreate, as that period only ever comes around every couple hundred years. As a result, their people are quite small and would usually roam around the galaxy every once in a while to find a proper home world. However, by the time of the Second Great Galactic Civil War, the Neti were considered a myth. Master Terra Sa was quite the active member in the Jedi Order, especially during the time of the Clone Wars. Because of her long life, she was incredibly wise and had the tendency to speak in riddles and metaphors when talked to, similar to Yoda. She did sit upon the Jedi High Council once, and like we said, at one point trained Mace Windu when he was a young Padawan, though she was not his single master. When the Clone Wars began, Master Sa played the role of a Jedi General like most Masters, and interacted with the front lines quite often, and at one point saved the lives of Barriss Offee and many clones through an incredible display of her Force powers. Needless to say, Sa was an absolute master of the Force ability Alter Environment. Sa was able to bend a great many trees around her as well as her unit in order to shield her company from enemy blaster fire. Though this experience did cause her to become gravely injured. Luckily though, Windu would arrive just in time to put her in a Bacta tank, and she survived this great and grave experience. Contrary to what your initial thoughts may be, she was in fact not a Jedi Consular, but was the rare Jedi Sentinel. Sa served alongside Master Thome as a Jedi Watchman in the Kifu system, which is likely why we don't see her very often in the Clone Wars. During this time, Sa and Thome would fall in love during their assignment in the Kifu sector, and would actually secretly get married. What's fascinating about this is the Jedi had actually found a way to love without the selfishness, jealousy, and attachment that came with love. They had somehow found the perfect way for two Jedi to actually fall in love with each other properly without attachment. What I mean by this is, Sa and Thome had realized and accepted that Sa would most likely live much longer than Jedi Master Thome would. And when Thome did die after the rise of the Empire, Master Sa understood his fate as well as her own. However, she would plant herself at his gravesite and enter her meditative hibernation for quite a long time. But this wouldn't happen until sometime following Order 66. When the Great Jedi Purge occurred, Tara Saw and Master Thome were forced to flee the Kifu sector, and eventually landed on the world of Kashyyyk. It's important to note why exactly they were able to survive so long on Kashyyyk without Imperial detection. Kashyyyk was a vast and expansive, very lush world, with countless species in its inhabitants, and because of this, it was exceptionally powerful in the living force. This meant that Thome, as well as Tara, were safe there, along with Quinlan Vos and his new family. Thus, they were able to hide on Kashyyyk as the sort of opposite to Dagobah, a light-side, living force nexus that shielded their presence from the Empire and the Sith. What's in part tragic about this, though, is the Imperials would have several occupations of the world of Kashyyyk, enslaving the Wookiee population to build the Death Star, and even having Darth Vader hunt enclaves of Jedi there on more than one occasion, all likely taking point in time where Master Saw was in deep hibernation. It is unknown whether or not Tara Saw ever met Luke Skywalker directly, but it is known that she did indeed become a part of the new Jedi Order at some point prior to Cade Skywalker, and would even serve on the Jedi Council in the hidden Jedi Temple. The Master would even survive the third Jedi Purge instigated by Darth Krayt. Unfortunately, Tara Saw's end would come during the attack on the hidden temple by the One Sith, where the Jedi Master would finally sacrifice herself to save the rest of the Order. When the One Sith arrived, Saw proceeded to direct the Jedi's defense with battle meditation from the Council chambers, and when Krayt's Sith troopers launched their trap, Nate and Cade Skywalker, as well as Jedi Masters Saida Dullah, Tez Corso, and Drak, stayed in order to protect her until the evacuation of the hidden temple was completed. Finally, all of her defenders had fallen to the Sith, except for the two Skywalkers. Nate Skywalker force-pushed Cade away from the building just as a crashed starfighter rammed into it, killing him, with the chain reaction also taking out Jedi Master Tara Saw, as they focused their energy into a massive beam of light. This light traveled upwards towards the enemy fleet, creating an opening that allowed the rest of the Jedi to escape. Jedi Master Tara Saw was an extremely powerful force wielder, with abilities such as battle meditation, as well as alter environment, with it believed that only a select few individuals would ever be able to master these abilities, and have a magnitude that Master Tara Saw possessed. In addition to this, she also used the ability of Mind Meld, which was the ability to telepathically link together the minds of several beings, in order to create an extremely fast network of communication via thought. By the end of her life, she had mastered Terminus and could absorb blaster bolts with her bare hands, and even beyond this, was extremely gifted at force healing. When it came to combat, the Jedi Master was also extremely formidable. Master Saw hardly ever moved when she was in a fight, and would often root herself in the ground to become something of an immovable object, while combining force attacks with her lightsaber skills, likely being a master of the jack-of-all-trades form in Nyman. Using the Force was something that came effortlessly to Master Tara Saw, and in her final moments, she was able to combine concentration with Nate Skywalker to create a massive pillar of Force light, allowing the Jedi Order that she served to escape and live on yet again. But anyway, my friends and acolytes, this is the story of the Neti Jedi Master, Tara Saw. I hope you enjoyed today's Holocron entry, and if you would like to see other obscure Jedi explored, please feel free to suggest them in the comments down below. As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.